Welcome to the Happier Attorney, y'all. This is a channel where we talk about flat fees and mindset and how you can be a happier attorney. And I am Brita Long, the author and creator of The Happier Attorney. And today we are going to be talking about hourly billing and when it first came to be. And this was surprising to me to learn that I certainly thought that hourly billing had been around forever. That's how I was taught even before law school, working as a document clerk. Bill by the hour. And that's what we were taught in law school. Didn't really hear of anything else. And it might, and that's what I hear with from attorneys. Oh, this is a new method. This is untested. This is scary. I'll just stick with their traditional hourly fees. And I'm here to tell you nothing could be further from the truth. So when we look back at history, which I think is important to do every once in a while, because there are no new problems. There's not new problems for people, and there are not new problems for attorneys when we really boil it down. And what is our job as attorneys when we boil it down? Our job is to help people resolve disputes, whether that is a dispute with another individual, a business, government. It is to resolve a dispute, right? When we really get rid of everything else, that's the bottom line. Well, people have been having disputes since there were people. And so attorneys have been in the business of being attorneys for thousands of years. Thousands of years. Ancient Rome, ancient Greece. And other than for a very short period of time, they've always been paid. They've had different titles for their roles, but really it was attorney, counselor, mediator, judge. And they've always been paid on a flat rate. They were paid for their expertise, for the value of their service. Maybe consideration for time, but they were not paid by the hour. Ever. For thousands of years, flat fees worked. Flat fees aren't new. They're what attorneys have used up until about the 1960s, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that long ago. In the 1960s, the insurance industry, which I'm not even going to get into the insurance industry, but do you really think they have your back or your client's best interest at heart? I don't. They wanted to look at efficiency. So they had this idea that they were only going to pay attorneys by the hour. They didn't want attorneys working on things longer than the insurance industry thought they should. Does that sound familiar? An insurance industry substituting its judgment for another professional? Now, I don't even think that hourly fees in any way measure efficiency at all. But that was the idea. And they demanded it, and their attorneys were in the big firms. They got the big firms to go along with this. And we all know if the big firms do it, we're going to do it. They got the ABA to go along with this. And here we are. What's interesting is almost immediately the issues start coming up. The clients having sticker shock, not being able to predict what the bill is, having attorneys overwork to get the billable hour requirements up because the numbers don't work. The math doesn't work unless you're overworking. The burnout going on. And the more. And yet, it's still kind of stuck around. We didn't immediately just go, okay, this didn't work. This experiment, maybe even well-intentioned experiment, which I don't think it was, It didn't work. We're going back to hourly. We didn't do that. I don't know why. I wasn't practicing back then, but we didn't. So here we are 60 years later, 55, 60 years later, and now slowly we're going back to flat fees because they work. And they did work. And we attorneys, we think that we're logical and we think that we do things that only make sense. Well, did this make sense? Maybe in theory, but they didn't even test it out to see if it would work. They just did it. And it didn't work out. And they didn't go back. That doesn't seem logical. So when you are in a situation where you're like, oh, this is scary, or when other people are questioning you using flat fees, remember this. You're not using something new. They are. You're using the traditional method to bill for your services that worked year after year, decade after decade, century after century. There was never a reason to change it. You're going back to the traditional way. They're the ones who are using the new method, and the method that doesn't work, that only leads to overworking, overbilling, unhappy clients, broke attorneys. So I hope that gives you a little bit of comfort, a little bit of safety net that, oh no, actually I'm not out here by myself. Because I know what that feels like. As far as I know, I was the only family law attorney in the state of Washington using flat fees for a very, very long time. It did feel I was a little self-conscious, but the results were so great that it didn't matter. Like, say what you're going to say about me. This is what works. This is what works for me. It works for my clients. It's the most ethical way to bill, in my opinion. And I just kept going. But it can feel a little self-conscious. Get over it. Get over it. I have attorney clients who feel the same way. And we talk about, that other attorney who, by the way, isn't correct. Okay. Unless you're doing something unethical, which if you do what I tell you to do, you won't. That other attorney, their opinion of you is none of your business. Are you seriously going to let somebody else's opinion of what you're doing affect your practice? Limit your practice? Affect your income? Affect your quality of life? I hope not. I understand peer pressure can be strong. Please don't let it be that strong. You're not even going to remember who those people are. But again, remember, what they're doing is the new thing, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So take comfort. You're doing what has worked for thousands of years. You're doing what is creating a firm where you are doing superior work for your clients, where your clients are happy, where you're making good money, and you're not having to overwork. Don't forget that goal. Okay, so I hope this little history lesson has helped a bit. If you want some cites, all of the citations will be in the second edition of The Happier Attorney, which is coming out in about 6 months. But, you can Google it. It's right there. There's no surprises. Flat fees have been around forever. That's how we did it. So take care. Thank you for your support for flat fees. And if you have any questions about learning flat fees, just go to happierattorney.com. Take care.